I love the George Harrison song that we played for our offering music. It's well suited as the vehicle for today's ultimate message. The lyrics go, "We were talking about the space between us all, and the people who hide themselves behind a wall of illusion never glimpse the truth, then it's far too late when they pass away. We were talking about the love that we all could share. When we find it, to try our best to hold it there with our love. With our love, we could save the world if they only knew. Try to realize it's all within yourself. No one else can make you change. And to see you're only really very small, and life flows on within you and without you. We were talking about the love that's gone so cold, and the people who gain the world and lose their soul. They don't know. They can't see. Are you one of them? When you've seen beyond yourself, then you may find peace of mind is waiting there, and the time will come. You see, we're all one, and life flows within you and without you. The beginning of our country was under the idea of a manifest destiny, which was the battle standard we operated under at our inception. As we marched from the East Coast to the West, nothing could stop us from taking what was our divine right. The doctrine was just the start of what became ultimately known as the idea of American exceptionalism. Yet, after a few hundred years of being the city on the hill, we are now contending with COVID, political discord, ongoing racial tensions, climate change, inflation, shooting rampages, the challenge to Roe v. Wade, and the Machiavellian machinations concerning our voting rights. On the cusp of our new year, dominated with a vast array of turf battles that all revolve around various power grabs. But what would be available to us if we were open to putting down our defenses and embracing, as George Harrison posits, that we are all one and life flows on within you and without you? Many abide by the adage that wisdom comes with age. But Paul Hawkins states in Blessed Unrest that we already know frames what we see, and what we see frames what we understand. Ram Dass stated that for many of us, apprehension over what the future may hold is synonymous with our fear of change. As egos, we resist letting go of knowledge. Change is always viewed as a threat, since the ego is only comfortable with what it can control. Freeing ourselves from the ego's attachment to things remaining as they are and acquainting ourselves with what exists eternally in each present moment, we learn to approach change with curiosity rather than dread, and to be more comfortable with not knowing than we have been before. Presently, we are being forced to sink or swim in a tsunami of ambiguity that appears to have no end. So how does one find respite? In my recent trip to the Galapagos, upon arrival on the boat I was to live on for 9 days, I was asked if I scubaed. I said no. Allie, our naturalist, then asked if I swam, to which I said yes. Great, she said, then you scuba. Not fighting her declaration allowed me to embrace not only a new recreational skill, but also, more importantly, to participate in being available to operate in two worlds almost simultaneously, where you could glide with the sea lions as they came off the shore and stuck their face in yours, basically initiating a beautiful, spontaneous play date, or watch the large turtles go from lumbering land giants to water ballerinas a foot away from you. The iguana's sea algae feedings were magnificent to behold, or the penguins darting past you at light speed. Curtains of fish 4 to 5 stories deep, reflecting the sun as they swam, turning in unison. Charles Darwin studied the diverse flora and fauna of these islands many years ago, and to his amazement, he found that everything was forced to adapt from their initial habitats on the mainlands where they came from, or perish in their new homes. These observations formulated his theory on natural selection, survival of the fittest. We now have an opportunity to develop our scuba skills. Our ego can be joyously checked using our principles that give us a structure to source the way we interface with all that we do as we open the door to a new year that will require us to be proactive and engage vigorously with those principles. Also, not forgetting to include ourselves in the application of them as well, or for those who may run counter to everything that we actually embrace. So let's take a moment to reiterate our most basic tenets. Are you a yes to the inherent worth and dignity of every person, including yourself, without exception? Do you resoundingly support justice, equity, and compassion in all human relations? Do you accept one another and encourage their spiritual growth as well as yours? Do you embrace a free and responsible search for truth and meaning? As far as the world community, do you embrace it with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part of? And I'm hoping, based on that one, that this year brings on a whole slew of new vegans to the table like me. The lands of the Galapagos are incredibly beautiful. Standing on the prow of the boat with a pod of dolphins, a few pilot whales, it appears that they pull the boat forward under a poetic sunrise with a stiff, cool breeze that gives you a bracing start of the day before you. Robert Frost summarized what I would like to conclude with best in his poem, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there, had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference.